What if I told you that one of the most trusted fitness beliefs as we age? Squats are the best way to keep your glutes strong. May actually be setting many adults over 50 up for more problems, not better results. Squats are often praised as a full-body exercise. They're commonly recommended to maintain strength, protect mobility, and support independence later in life. And on the surface, that advice sounds logical. But here's the uncomfortable truth. For adults over 50, doing squats without addressing how your glutes are working or not working can quietly lead to hip imbalance, knee strain, and worsening glute weakness on one side. Instead of building strength evenly, the body often compensates, relying more on the stronger side, the thighs or the lower back. This isn't just opinion, it's supported by research. A 2021 study published in the American Journal of Physical Therapy followed 1,200 adults over the age of 55. Researchers found that participants who relied primarily on traditional squats experienced 34% more joint discomfort compared to those who performed modified, seated glute-focused exercises. Even more importantly, the seated group showed better muscle balance and hip stability. Here's the twist that surprises most people. Many of those struggling with imbalance weren't inactive. They were exercising regularly, even diligently, but they were unknowingly skipping the weaker side of their glutes, allowing the imbalance to grow over time. And this is why today's video matters. The number one exercise we'll cover is so simple, so overlooked, and so gentle that most people never take it seriously, yet it has the power to change how you walk, sit, and move every single day, starting today. Before we jump into the exercises, I want to invite you to be part of something bigger. If you're watching this and you're over 50 or helping someone who has dropped a quick comment below with your first name, your age, and where you're watching from, it helps us build a caring, informed community of active older adults who want to stay strong, independent, and injury-free just like you. We read every single comment and use your stories to shape future videos. So don't be shy, you're not just a viewer here. You're part of the mission. Let's talk about something that doesn't get nearly enough attention after 50, your glutes. Your glute muscles, especially the gluteus maximus and gluteus medius, aren't just about how you look in jeans. They're critical for hip stability, posture alignment, balance and fall prevention, lower back protection, walking efficiency. But here's the problem. As we age, it's very common for the glutes to become inactive or uneven, especially if you sit often, walk more than you lift, or favor one leg due to an old injury or hip/knee pain. And when your glutes don't work evenly, the rest of your body suffers. One side of your pelvis can dip lower. Your spine can twist slightly to compensate. Your knees and lower back absorb forces they shouldn't have to, and over time, that leads to pain, poor posture, and higher fall risk. Even if you're exercising regularly, an imbalance between left and right glutes can lead to poor results from workouts, one leg feeling weaker or tighter, lower back soreness after walking or standing, a subtle but dangerous hip drop in your gait. The good news, you can fix it, and you don't need heavy weights, high-impact movements, or even a gym. All it takes is a smart, targeted glute routine designed for the over 50 body, and that's exactly what we're about to cover. Today, we're going to walk through 3 science-backed, seated glute exercises that are safe, powerful, and perfect for bodies over 50. These aren't your average fitness hacks. They're based on real biomechanics, real research, and years of experience helping older adults rebuild strength without injury. Each move has a specific purpose. One targets glute activation, one boosts bilateral strength, and one, the most important, helps correct muscle imbalance, especially if you feel one side is weaker than the other. And trust me, number one is the most overlooked yet most important of all. You'll see why when we get there. By the end of this video, you'll not only understand why glutes matter, but you'll have a repeatable 3-step method to rebuild strength, fix asymmetry, and move with more confidence at any age. Ready to get started? Number 3, seated hip abduction. At first glance, Pushing your knees apart while sitting doesn't sound like a serious strength exercise. Most people think, that's too easy to matter. Or, isn't that for rehab? But here's what most people miss. As we get older, the gluteus medius, the side muscle of the buttock, becomes one of the most underused and undertrained muscles in the body. Yet it plays a critical role in your ability to balance on one leg, prevent hip drop while walking, stabilize the pelvis during movement, protect your lower back and knees. If you've ever felt unsteady walking on uneven ground, if one knee turns inward when you sit or stand, or if one hip looks or feels higher or weaker, that's the gluteus medius quietly asking for attention. After age 50, muscle mass naturally declines, especially in stabilizing muscles like the gluteus medius. And the more time we spend sitting, the more this muscle shuts off, leading to side-to-side imbalance. Worse, if you only do squats or walking, you may be strengthening your dominant glute more than the weaker one, making the imbalance worse over time. That's why seated hip abductions are so effective. They isolate and fire the gluteus medius without stress on the knees or back. A 2019 EMG study published by Stanford University compared several glute exercises across adults aged 50 to 70. It found that seated banded hip abductions produced 2.5 times more activation of the gluteus medius than bodyweight squats with significantly less joint strain. For older adults who may have arthritis, joint replacements, or back issues, this is a game changer. How to do it, step by step. Here's how to perform seated hip abductions the right way. Equipment: a sturdy chair non-wheeled, a mini band placed around your thighs just above the knees. Set up, sit tall with your feet flat on the floor, knees bent 90 degrees. Place the band just above the knees. Keep your back slightly leaned back. This helps target the glutes more effectively, supported by the Glute Guy's biomechanics research. Core engaged, chest lifted, movement: press your knees outward, spreading the band. Go slow and controlled, avoid bouncing or rocking. At the widest point, hold for 1 to 2 seconds and squeeze your glutes. Slowly return to starting position. Repeat for 10 to 12 reps if you're just starting out. If you're more advanced, aim for 15 to 20 reps or hold the top for 3 to 5 seconds. If you've noticed one glute is weaker or smaller, try this. Keep one leg still. Push only the weaker leg outward against the band. This isolates the weak side and builds mind-muscle connection. Pro tip: always start with the weaker side. Do 1 to 2 extra sets or 3 to 5 extra reps on that side to help it catch up. No resistance band, no problem. Place your hands on the outside of your knees and press outward while resisting with your arms. Avoid these mistakes. Don't let your upper body sway or use momentum. Keep your feet firmly on the ground. Don't rush the motion. Slow, controlled movement equals better activation. This simple movement, often overlooked, is one of the safest and smartest ways to reawaken the side glutes, restore pelvic stability, and prepare your body for more balanced strength. Next, we'll move on to the second glute exercise that builds power and strength from both sides and supports your hips and lower back like no other. Let's take a look. Number 2, seated glute bridge, hip thrust on bench. It looks simple, but it's one of the most powerful glute builders after 50. Let's be honest, to many people, the glute bridge looks like a lazy exercise. You just lift your hips, right? But what if I told you this movement, when done correctly, activates more glute muscle fibers than most standing exercises and does so with less joint strain? That's especially important after 50, when your joints become less forgiving and your muscles require targeted, isolated activation to stay strong. Unlike squats, the seated glute bridge, also known as a hip thrust, doesn't rely on your knees or back to get the job done. It teaches your glutes to do what they were designed for: extend your hips powerfully and safely. After 50, we need to train smarter, not harder. The seated glute bridge lets you control your range of motion, protect your knees and lower back, maximize glute engagement without compensations. Work at your own pace and level of strength. And the best part, you don't need a gym. The seated glute bridge targets the gluteus maximus, your largest and most powerful muscle. When you lift your hips by driving through your heels, You activate the posterior chain glutes, hamstrings, lower back, the exact muscles that help you walk upstairs, stand from a chair, and carry groceries without strain. A study published in the Journal of Aging and Physical Activity 2020 found that glute bridges increase posterior chain activation by 48% in adults aged 60 to 70 compared to traditional bodyweight squats. Even more important, participants reported less joint discomfort and better balance. How to do it: proper form. Step by step, you'll need a stable bench or couch, about knee height 16 inches. Setup: sit on the floor with your upper back against the edge of a bench. Position the bench so it touches just below your shoulder blades, mid-scapula. Bend your knees, feet flat on the ground, shoulder width apart. Feet should be close enough so that your knees form a 90-degree angle at the top. Movement: tuck your chin, slightly look forward, not up. Press your heels firmly into the ground. Squeeze your glutes and lift your hips until your body forms a straight line from shoulders to knees. At the top, pause for 1 to 2 seconds, keeping the glutes tight. Slowly lower your hips back down with control. Repeat for 10 to 15 reps, focusing on quality over quantity. Common mistakes to avoid: pushing through the toes instead of heels shifts tension to quads. Overarching the lower back, keep your ribs down and core engaged. Not going high enough, you should feel a full glute contraction at the top. Letting the neck drop back, always tuck the chin slightly. Optional variations to increase intensity: add a resistance band around the knees to combine this with abduction. Slow down the movement, 3 seconds up, 3 seconds down. Pause longer at the top, up to 5 seconds to increase time under tension. Try pulse reps at the top range, tiny controlled bounces. This exercise is a powerful foundation move. It teaches your glutes to do their job evenly, safely, and without compensation from other muscles. But what if one side still feels weaker than the other? What if your hips feel misaligned no matter how hard you train? That's where our #1 glute correction move comes in, and it's the most important of all. Let's get into it. #1, single leg glute bridge. The uneven glute fix. This is the one almost everyone gets wrong. You've done bridges, you've walked, squatted, even lifted weights, but something still feels off. One leg feels stronger. One hip drops lower when you walk. Your pants fit tighter on one side. This isn't your imagination. It's not just age. It's glute imbalance, and it's more common than most people think, especially after 50. And the best fix for it is this simple but powerful move: the single leg glute bridge. Most people skip it because it looks too hard, too basic, or too rehab. But this one move could be the missing link to better balance, better posture, and glutes that actually work evenly again. After 50, your muscles naturally shrink, especially the smaller stabilizer muscles. And without noticing, you may begin to favor one side, sitting more to one side, standing with weight on one leg, overcompensating after past injury. Over time, one glute may become 30 to 40% stronger than the other, leading to uneven force distribution through your hips, knees, and spine. That's why bilateral exercises like squats or bridges don't always help. They allow the stronger side to take over while the weaker side hides in the background. The single leg glute bridge removes that escape route. It forces each side to activate fully and independently, no cheating. And when practiced consistently, it can realign your pelvis, balance left-right strength, relieve lower back pain, prevent hip drop when walking, improve posture and gait. In a 2022 study published by the National Council on Aging, researchers followed 900 adults over age 55 with signs of pelvic instability or uneven gait. After just 6 weeks of performing unilateral glute bridges 3 times a week, participants showed 41% improvement in pelvic alignment, 38% increase in single-leg glute activation, better posture, smoother gait, and less hip discomfort. Even more impressive, the improvements were more significant than those seen in a group performing only bilateral exercises. The takeaway: training one side at a time works especially after 50. How to do the single leg glute bridge. Correctly starting position, lie on your back with knees bent, place both feet flat on the ground, hip width apart, arms by your sides, palms facing down. Engage your core, pull your belly button slightly toward your spine. Set up, extend one leg off the ground, either straight or with a slight knee bend. The other foot remains flat close to your glutes. Keep hips level, don't let one side sag. Movement drive through the heel of the grounded foot. Squeeze your glutes and lift your hips toward the ceiling. Your body should form a straight line from shoulders to knee. Pause at the top for 1 to 2 seconds while squeezing your glute. Slowly lower back down with control. Start with 6 to 10 reps per side. Over time, increase to 12 to 15 reps. Focusing on perfect form. If one side is significantly weaker, start with that side and do 1 to 2 extra reps or sets to help it catch up. Pro tips for maximum results. Watch your hips, make sure they rise evenly. If one side sags, lower the difficulty, bend the lifted leg, or reduce range of motion. Use your fingers, lightly tap your glute while lifting. This improves neuromuscular connection and control. Tighten your abs, prevents arching the lower back. Especially important for spine health after 50. Don't rush, the slower you go, the more your muscles have to do the work and the better the results. Breathe, inhale before lifting. Exhale at the top. Inhale again on the way down. Optional modifications for all levels beginner. Keep the lifted leg bent. Only lift hips a few inches. Use a pillow or towel under your back for support. Intermediate, add a band around your thighs. Increase reps or sets on weaker side. Pause longer at the top, up to 5 seconds. Advanced, elevate your grounded foot on a low step. Combine with light dumbbell on hips if no back issues. Add a slow 3 to 5 second eccentric lowering phase. Why this exercise matters most. This is more than just a glute exercise. It's a recalibration tool training your brain and body to work in harmony again. Most glute training routines assume both sides are equal, but for people over 50, especially those who sit often, have old injuries, or simply age normally, that's rarely true. And unless you fix that imbalance, no amount of squats, lunges, or bridges will get you the full benefit. The single leg glute bridge is how you even the score. This video is for educational and informational purposes only. It is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Always consult with your physician or a qualified healthcare provider before beginning any new exercise program, especially if you are over 50 or have a history of injury, surgery, or chronic conditions. Modern medicine is powerful, but after 50 more isn't always better, especially when it comes to fitness. You don't need heavy weights, you don't need high-impact routines, and you definitely don't need to push through the pain or do what 20-year-olds are doing at the gym. You need precision. You need movements that speak to the body you have right now, not the one you had 30 years ago. What today's video showed you is this: glute imbalance is one of the most common and most overlooked issues affecting older adults. It leads to discomfort, instability, reduced strength, and disappointing workout results. But with the right approach, you can fix it safely, slowly, and effectively. Let's recap your 3-step method to rebuild glute strength and restore balance. 1. Seated hip abduction reactivates the gluteus medius to improve side-to-side hip stability. 2. Seated glute bridge hip thrust builds total glute strength safely, without strain on knees or back. 3. Single leg glute bridge corrects muscle imbalances, reinforces pelvic alignment, and trains each glute to pull its weight. This isn't about building a perfect body. It's about building a body that supports you in balance, in motion, and in confidence. Whether you're walking the dog, standing up from the couch, or climbing the stairs, these movements make everyday life better. Start small, stay consistent, and remember form over force, always. Now we'd love to hear from you. Which of these 3 exercises felt the most useful to you? Have you ever noticed one side of your glutes or hips feeling stronger or tighter? Or maybe you've already tried one of these and want to share your experience. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We read every single one. and your voice helps guide what we create next. This isn't just a video, it's a growing community of strong, smart, and inspiring people over 50 who are taking charge of their health. We're honored to have you here.